Good late afternoon, and thanks for hanging in there. I tried to keep it short. So Revolve Recycling is indeed the latest organization I'm involved in. It's actually founded and owned by Pete Schmichel, that some of you might know, who used to be the CEO for Accor, Lifeline, amongst a few other things, including being a bike enthusiast. And in that capacity, when he approached me to help setting it up, we did some research and found out that there are actually 350,000 bicycles that every year nationwide are thrown away, and that nothing is done with. So a huge resource, huge opportunity to do something positive with, and that's what Revolve Recycling is all about. I will talk a bit later in more detail about that specifics, but here today I'm talking about green wheels and a movement, as we see it, that is growing and has a lot of opportunities. It's a program that is supported by the EPA, and it is about empowering bike shops. So we know that there are 250 bike shops in New South Wales who largely throw all their rubber, metal in the general waste, and now also some of their batteries, which has created a lot of those issues that we might have heard about, the trucks with all the waste getting lit up and create real problems. So we did some assessment with the bike shops, and the main problem they struggle with is the infrastructure that it needs to do a good job, especially with the batteries, but also space and cost in general. And even more when you go regional, like we have been talking earlier, how complex it is for regional bike shops to get the support they need to do a proper service. So we see it as a duty for us to help them finding that solution and helping them also with practical outcome. Now, okay, how are we doing that? So we are part of the EPA bin trim program, which means we started with audits of all their waste, and that's where we could confirm and see how problematic it is currently that their waste is not separated. We have helped setting up some of those services, specifically for the batteries and the rubber. We have arrangements made with some of the partners and the players in that field to collect that waste and recycle it. And we also have introduced an accreditation program, which comes down to some quality control and demonstration of capacity to do it in the right way. I will talk about it later also. And last but not least, it's also going to involve a consumer campaign where the consumer basically will ask for the good and the right setup for the bike shops. Here you see some images of where we have some ambassadors, including Chloe Hosking, one of the pro racers. The bike shop owners have already met and talked to us on a regular basis about all of that. We have a rubber recycling program, and Bingo is one of our partners, and ironically we are actually at the same site as Insect Farming, that was the first speaker here, in Alexandria, also supported by Bingo, so two innovative programs on the same site. And we have a battery recycling program also in place. And here you see the first results of all we have been doing. We are halfway through the program, and we have already been able to shift 12% of the waste from being thrown away to being recycled, which represents currently 85,000 tons. We did 150 of the 250 shops already, visited them and did an audit and have recommended improvements, and 50% of those are already accredited. And if you look at the two graphics, what you see in green is the part that is currently recycled, and on the left graphic, the left bar is what it was at the start, and the right one is what it is currently. And you see there is already some substantial shift, but also a lot more that can be done. And that's the program we are currently working on. Our next steps is this accreditation program. We have introduced a system with 100 points, very popular in Australian context. And so we divided in 30 points and 10 points that they have to prove that they do rubber, metal, soft plastic, etc. Recycling. and then they will be an accredited Green Wheels bike shop. And we will then promote, we will continue the conversations with the product stewardship schemes, because for both batteries and tires, there is actually not yet, except now very recently here in New South Wales, specifically for the batteries. There is a program here in New South Wales, but it's not nationwide. And for the tires stewardship scheme still doesn't accept bike tires. So that's a program that we are working on behalf of them. And then last but not least is the consumer campaign that we want to run to get the consumers talking to the bike shops as well. I want to jump quickly to where this sits in our bigger story of the organization Revolve Recycling. So Green Wheels is actually only one of all the programs we run. We also have set up a foundation specifically for kids' bikes, of which we get plenty. And we also know that 1 in 6 children currently have no access to a bike. So we set up a foundation to actually give away those bikes to those children. We aim for 1,000 per year. We currently are at 500. It's not too bad for a start, but there is more that can be done there. And we have also introduced a market for the second-hand parts. There is actually nothing like that at scale that exists, but there's a lot of interest. There is a lot of DIY bike mechanics around that are looking for those parts. So we have introduced a concept of a market, and it's the second time we did it in Sydney. We even have people from Melbourne, Canberra coming out, and we are building their community that they can share and exchange and buy from each other. But the core activities is what you see at the bottom there. That's the collection of our bicycles. We currently collect 5,000 per year. We sell 1,200 of those per year, and we service 500 per year. But there is still room to grow, and that's what we are currently working on. An interesting information that I want to share with you is 50% of the market in Australia of bikes that are sold are what we call the big box bikes. You find them in Kmart, Anaconda, and they don't last. There was till recently no evidence of what that actually meant, that they don't last. In the US, they talked about it in terms of build to fail. Now, we did a job with the consumer organization Choice. We did a test for 6 months for bikes, too good, too bad, daily commuting. And the outcome was that after 72 hours, those Kmart bikes are no longer safe, can't even be repaired anymore, and have to be thrown away. And that's 50% of the market in Australia. So we are working on a campaign there, and Kmart knows it, to address that as a problem. You see on the left side there, an also interesting development that happened recently is the exact calculation of what actually the CO2 emissions are for a bike. And it's an Australian-based carbon halo organization that has done that work. It's 116 kilo per bike. We are looking now at an offsetting program where every second-hand bike that we give alive can be used for carbon offsetting. The last one of those projects is one where we work with councils. Again, EPA is involved in it, and the SSROC, Southern Sydney Regional Council, is partnering with us on a program where we help and provide support and budgets to set up collection events at the local level. And that all those bikes come to us that we can then reuse, repair, disassemble, etc. And here is a summary of the story, the Green Wheels learning. So we see progress. We think that it is possible to indeed change the mood, change the behavior, the attitude from the bike shops towards management of their waste. We did a survey early on where 70% of the bike riders would like to buy from a bike shop that is indeed implementing sustainable waste solutions. And we see the trend moving in the right direction. And that's what we hope in 2 years from now, 80% of the bike shops to have on board for that program. And that's it for today.